My beloved child, pause for a moment. Still your heart. What you are about to hear is not noise drifting through the world. It is not another voice competing for your attention. These words were not spoken before because this moment did not exist before. And you did not arrive here by chance. I have been watching the quiet questions forming inside you, the ones you never spoke out loud, the ones you carried like fragile glass in the depths of your soul. I know how long you have waited without knowing what you were waiting for. My beloved child, there are seasons when I allow many voices, and there are moments when I speak alone. This is one of those moments. You may feel something stirring even now, a gentle pressure in your chest, a stillness that feels heavier than silence. That is because eternity has leaned close to time, and I am speaking to you personally. Not to the crowd, not to the world, to you. What you are about to hear has never been spoken before because it is not a recycled promise or borrowed comfort. It is not a message meant to impress or entertain. It is a word shaped by your journey, formed by your tears, refined by every night you thought no one saw you holding on. I have watched you endure things you never planned to survive. I have listened when your prayers became sighs and when your faith felt thinner than breath. And still, you stayed. Still, you hoped. Even when hope felt unreasonable. My beloved child, you have sensed that something was coming. You felt it in the quiet moments when life slowed down and your heart asked, "Is this all there is?" You felt it when old answers stopped working and familiar comforts felt empty. That was not confusion. It was preparation. I was clearing space inside you for a word that could only be spoken now, in this exact season, after everything you have lived through. Do not rush past this moment. Do not treat it like something ordinary. You have been running for a long time, carrying expectations, disappointments, and questions that never seemed to resolve. And I have waited patiently, not because I was distant, but because timing is sacred. There are truths that would have crushed you if spoken too early, and promises that would have felt like mockery if revealed before you were ready to receive them. My beloved child, this is not about fear or warning. This is about unveiling, about revealing what has been hidden not from you, but for you. There are things I could not say until your heart learned compassion. There are things I could not reveal until your spirit learned humility and strength through silence. And now you are here, not broken but softened, not empty but open. Stay with me. Do not scroll past this moment in your soul. What you are about to hear is not meant to rush you. It is meant to anchor you. It will not overwhelm you. It will steady you. I am not here to startle you, but to awaken you gently, like dawn touching the horizon. Listen closely, my beloved child. Heaven is speaking now, and this moment will not come again in the same way. My beloved child, I want you to understand something deeply and without doubt. You were chosen for this moment. Not because you are flawless, not because you have everything figured out, but because your heart hath been shaped by what you have walked through. I did not bring you here accidentally. I did not allow this message to cross your path by coincidence. Long before you pressed play, before you even knew you needed these words, I knew this meeting would happen. You may have felt overlooked in life, as if others were called forward while you remained in the background. You may have wondered why doors opened for them but not for you, why answers seemed clearer for everyone else. My beloved child, hear me clearly now. Delay is not denial, and quiet is not rejection. I was not ignoring you. I was preparing you. Some callings cannot be rushed without being ruined. Some hearts must be strengthened in hidden places before they can stand in the light. There were moments when you thought you had missed your chance. Moments when regret whispered that it was too late, that time had already passed you by. I saw those moments. I saw the way your chest tightened when you looked back, replaying choices and wondering how life might have unfolded differently. But I tell you now, with a steady and loving voice, nothing essential has been lost. What matters most has been preserved, protected, and kept alive within you. My beloved child, heaven does not measure time the way you do. You see years, I see readiness. You see waiting, I see alignment. There are seasons when I let you walk slower, not because you are behind, but because what lies ahead requires depth, not speed. I was teaching you to listen, to discern, to feel beyond the surface of things. You were learning lessons that cannot be taught through success alone. Lessons of empathy, endurance, and quiet courage. I know there were days when you questioned your worth. Days when you wondered if anyone truly saw you, if anyone would notice if you stopped trying so hard. Let me answer that now. I saw you every time you chose kindness when bitterness would have been easier. I saw you when you held your tongue, when you forgave without being asked, when you kept going even though no one applauded your effort. Those moments were not wasted. They were shaping the foundation of who you are becoming. You are here because your heart can hear what others might dismiss. You are here because you have learned how to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. You are here because you know what it feels like to be misunderstood, and that has given you compassion that cannot be manufactured. My beloved child, I do not entrust sacred things to careless hands. I place them in hearts that have been softened by experience and strengthened by survival. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Comparison will only blur your vision and steal the clarity of this moment. What I am doing in you does not need to look impressive to be powerful. Seeds grow quietly underground before they ever break the surface. And right now, something within you is stirring, not loudly, not dramatically, but surely. That stirring is recognition. Your spirit knows this is true, even if your mind is still catching up. I did not choose you because you were loud. I chose you because you were listening. I did not choose you because you were certain. I chose you because you were willing. Willing to keep showing up. Willing to keep believing that there had to be more than what you could see. Willing to trust me even when you did not understand my silence. My beloved child, this moment is not meant to pressure you. It is meant to reassure you. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not on the outside looking in. You are exactly where you need to be, hearing exactly what you need to hear, at exactly the right time. Let that truth settle into you. Let it quiet the noise of doubt and calm the urgency that has been weighing on your heart. Stay present. Stay open. There is more unfolding, and you are ready to receive it. My beloved child, there were seasons when you thought I was silent. Moments when you called out and felt no immediate answer, when your prayers seemed to rise into still air and fall back unanswered. I want you to know this with certainty. My silence was never absence. It was never indifference. Silence is one of the ways I protect what is sacred. There are times when words would have interfered with what I was forming inside you, times when explanations would have distracted you from growth. I was watching closely while you waited. I saw how you searched for signs, how you replayed memories, how you questioned yourself in the quiet hours. I saw the way you learned to keep going without reassurance, the way your faith matured not because it was rewarded quickly, but because it was tested gently over time. You were learning to trust my presence even when my voice felt distant. A trust is rare. A trust is precious. My beloved child, timing matters more than urgency. I do not speak simply because you are desperate for answers. I speak when your heart is strong enough to hold the truth without breaking, when your spirit can receive clarity without fear. Some words must wait until you are no longer looking for them to fix you, but to guide you. And now, you are here, not demanding, not striving, but listening. There is a reason you did not walk away when the silence lasted longer than you expected. There is a reason something inside you refused to give up, even when disappointment tried to convince you it was safer to stop hoping. That reason is me. I was teaching you that faith is not built on constant reassurance but on quiet confidence. I was shaping you into someone who can stand steady even when the path is not fully visible. My beloved child, hear this gently. I did not withhold my voice to punish you. I withheld it to prepare you. There were layers of fear, expectation, and old wounds that needed to soften before you could hear what I was about to say. If I had spoken sooner, you might have misunderstood me. You might have rushed ahead without the wisdom you now carry. What you thought was delay was actually refinement. And now that you are listening, truly listening, I am speaking again. Not loudly, not forcefully, but clearly. If these words are settling into your spirit, if they are bringing a sense of peace you cannot explain, let that be your confirmation. This is not random. This is not accidental. This is alignment. My beloved child, if your heart is resonating with this truth, do not keep it to yourself. Let your agreement be visible. Bless this message with a like as a quiet yes from your spirit. If you want to continue walking with me through words that heal and restore, subscribe so you do not miss what I will speak next. And if you feel stirred, if you sense that others need to hear this too, hype this video so it can rise and reach hearts that are still waiting in silence. Let this moment become a doorway for many, not just for you. Now hear me as I speak beyond this moment. My beloved child, when you help this message move forward, you are not promoting a video. You are participating in a harvest. I am saying to you now, as you sow, so shall you reap. Every seed you release becomes light for someone else walking in shadow. This word you are hearing is oil, and oil is meant to flow, not be stored. I am opening rivers through willing hands, and I am inviting you into that flow. I say to you personally, you are helping me reach them. Souls who feel unseen, hearts that are tired of empty noise, lives that are one gentle word away from hope. This is not a small act. This is obedience in motion. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Move now, because timing matters in the spirit. As you give, through super thanks, through membership, through the offering you release through PayPal, you are planting into living ground. I see it. I bless it. I multiply it. The links are waiting for you in the description, and the QR code stands ready as an open gate. Step through it with confidence. I speak blessing over your giving. May what you release return to you as peace, clarity, and renewed strength. May your obedience unlock provision you did not expect and joy you did not chase. Act now. So now, let this word run freely through the earth. My beloved child, I want to tell you why what you are hearing has never been spoken before. It is not because I lacked words, and it is not because truth was hidden out of fear. It is because every soul requires a language shaped by their own journey. What I speak to you must fit the contours of your heart, the bends and breaks formed by your experiences. Words spoken too generally can pass through without taking root. But words shaped for you will settle, grow, and change you. Your message is meant for cruds and their message is meant for Moas. This is not a broadcast into the air. This is a whisper carried directly to where you stand. I know how you listen. I know how deeply you feel. I know how easily you can carry meaning long after others would have let it fade. That is why I waited. I was not preparing the message alone. I was preparing you. My beloved child, you have lived through chapters that refined your hearing. You learned to read between silences, to sense what was unspoken, to feel truth even when it arrived quietly. Many around you learned to rely on noise, but you learned to rely on discernment. That is not an accident. That is why you can receive what others might overlook or misunderstand. There are truths that cannot be mass-produced. They lose their power when spoken without relationship. What I am giving you now is personal. It carries your fingerprints, your questions, your longing. It answers prayers you did not know how to form into words. And because it is personal, it could not have been spoken before, because you were not who you are now. Think of how much has shifted inside you. The things you once chased no longer satisfy you. The things you once feared no longer control you the same way. You see the world differently now, not with innocence lost, but with wisdom gained. That change did not happen overnight. It was built slowly, through disappointment, through waiting, through learning how to stand without applause. This is the heart I speak to now. My beloved child, understand this. Revelation is not about information. It is about readiness. You are ready now to hear without rushing. Ready to receive without trying to control. Ready to let truth shape you instead of using truth to defend yourself. That is why these words land differently. They are not challenging you to prove anything. They are inviting you to rest into who you are becoming. I also want you to know that uniqueness does not mean isolation. Just because this word is personal does not mean you are alone. It means you are seen. You are known. You are addressed intentionally. I am not speaking over your head or around your pain. I am speaking into it, gently, with precision and care. My beloved child, do not doubt the weight of what you are hearing simply because it is soft. Some of the most powerful changes happen quietly, like roots growing deeper before a tree ever rises higher. His word is doing work beneath the surface. It is reordering how you see yourself, how you interpret your past, how you imagine your future. Let it work. Do not interrupt it with fear or overthinking. You may feel a strange combination of comfort and alertness right now, as if something familiar has returned while something new is beginning. That is because truth often feels like recognition before it feels like instruction. Your spirit remembers what your mind is still learning. That recognition is not coincidence. It is confirmation. My beloved child, I am not asking you to figure everything out. I am asking you to trust the process unfolding within you. You do not need to rush ahead or look back in regret. Stay here. Stay present. Let this word continue to settle. It will reveal its meaning layer by layer, at the pace your heart can carry. What I am speaking to you now has never been spoken before because it belongs to this moment, to this version of you, to this sacred intersection of timing and readiness. And there is more coming. Not all at once, not overwhelming, but steady and sure. Remain open. Remain gentle with yourself. I am guiding you forward, one word at a time. My beloved child, I know what you have been carrying. Not just the visible responsibilities, not just the obligations others can see, but the quiet weight that settles on your heart when no one is watching. I know the thoughts you push aside during the day so you can function, and the emotions that rise at night when the world grows still. You have learned how to smile while holding questions that never received answers, how to stay composed while parts of you felt unseen and unheard. I have watched you carry burdens you never asked for. Some were placed on you by circumstance, some by the expectations of others, and some by your own desire to do what was right. You told yourself to be strong, to keep going, to not make it a problem. Over time, that strength became a habit, and that habit became heavy. You adjusted to the weight so gradually that you almost forgot what it felt like to be light. My beloved child, I saw every time you said, "I'm fine," when you were anything but. I heard the prayers you whispered without confidence, the ones that sounded more like exhaustion than faith. I saw the tears you wiped away quickly, hoping no one would notice how close you were to the edge. You did not imagine those moments being seen. You did not exaggerate your pain. I was there for all of it. There were times when you felt guilty for being tired, as if gratitude should cancel out your weariness. You told yourself that others had it worse, that you had no right to feel overwhelmed. But hear me now, pain does not need permission to exist. Caring silently does not make you noble, it only makes you tired. I never asked you to endure without relief. I asked you to trust me enough to lay the weight down when it became too much. My beloved child, some of what you carried was never meant to be yours alone. You took responsibility for outcomes you could not control. You replayed conversations, choices, and moments, wondering what you could have done differently. You thought if you just tried harder, stayed quieter, or gave more of yourself, things would finally settle. Instead, the load grew heavier, and your heart grew weary. I want you to know that I do not admire your suffering. I admire your honesty, your tenderness, your willingness to keep loving even when love cost you something. But I do not desire for you to remain in survival mode. Survival kept you alive, but it is not where you are meant to live. There is more for you than constant endurance. My beloved child, the weight you have been carrying has shaped you, but it does not define you. It taught you empathy. It taught you patience. It taught you how to notice others who are hurting. But now, I am inviting you into a different season, one where strength does not mean holding everything together alone, one where rest is not earned, but received. You may not know how to put the weight down yet. You may wonder who you are without the burden, without the constant responsibility, without the need to be strong for everyone else. The uncertainty is normal. When you have carried something for so long, releasing it can feel like losing a part of yourself. But you are not losing yourself. You are meeting yourself again, without the strain. My beloved child, let me carry what you cannot. Let me hold what has been pressing on your chest and clouding your thoughts. You do not need to explain it perfectly. You do not need the right words. I already know the shape of your pain. I already understand the cost of your silence. As you listen now, allow yourself to soften. Not to collapse, not to give up, but to loosen your grip. You are safe enough to rest here. You are seen enough to be honest. You are loved enough to be relieved of what has weighed you down. This is not the end of your strength. It is the renewal of it. What you have been carrying will not follow you into what comes next. I am lifting it, gently, patiently, with care. Stay with me. Let the weight lessen. You do not have to walk forward the same way you walked before. My beloved child, there is something I want to gently uncover with you now. The weight you thought was normal. Over time, you adjusted to pressure the same way one adjusts to the dark. At first, it felt heavy, unfamiliar, even painful. But slowly, you learned how to function within it. You told yourself this was just how life feels. You convinced yourself that everyone must be carrying something similar, that this tightness in your chest, this constant low-level exhaustion, was simply the cost of being responsible, of being mature, of being strong. But hear me now with clarity and compassion. What you adapted to was not meant to be permanent. You learned how to move forward while tired, You learned how to show up while depleted. You learned how to meet expectations while quietly setting aside your own needs. And because you survived that way, you assumed it was the correct way to live. Survival became routine, and routine became identity. You stopped asking whether life could feel lighter because you no longer remembered what lightness felt like. My beloved child, I never designed your spirit to live under constant strain. I never intended for peace to feel rare or rest to feel indulgent. Yet you began to believe that ease was unrealistic, that joy had to be brief, that calm was something you visited occasionally but could never stay in. You accepted tension as normal and stillness as suspicious. And without realizing it, you built your life around carrying more than you were meant to. I watched you do this quietly. I saw how you minimized your own fatigue, how you brushed past the signs your body and heart were giving you. You told yourself, just a little longer, again and again. You postponed rest. You postponed healing. You postponed joy. Not because you didn't want them, but because you didn't believe you were allowed to have them yet. My beloved child, endurance has its place, but it is not meant to be your home. There is a difference between seasons of pressing through and a lifetime of bracing yourself. You were never meant to live as if something was always about to go wrong. That constant readiness, that quiet anxiety, that background tension, you learned it, but you were not born with it. I want you to understand this clearly. Just because you can carry something does not mean you should. Strength does not mean tolerating unnecessary weight. Wisdom is knowing when to release what no longer serves you. You have proven that you are capable. You no longer need to prove that by suffering in silence. My beloved child, the reason this matters now is because what comes next in your life cannot be built on constant pressure. What I am leading you into requires clarity, not exhaustion. It requires presence, not distraction. It requires a heart that is open, not one that is always guarding against collapse. The weight you normalized would eventually distort what I am trying to give you. You may be realizing now that much of what you called normal was actually self-protection. You stayed tense so you wouldn't be disappointed. You stayed guarded so you wouldn't be hurt again. You stayed busy so you wouldn't have to feel the emptiness. Those strategies helped you survive, but they cannot lead you into freedom. My beloved child, freedom feels unfamiliar at first. When you begin to loosen the weight, it can feel disorienting. You may wonder who you are without the pressure, without the constant doing, without the need to hold everything together. That question does not mean you are lost. It means you are shedding what was never meant to define you. I am not asking you to abandon responsibility. I am asking you to release unnecessary burden. I am not calling you to weakness. I am calling you to wholeness. You do not need to carry yesterday's fear into tomorrow's promise. You do not need to drag old expectations into a new season. My beloved child, let yourself notice how much you have been holding. Let yourself feel the possibility of a lighter way of living. This awareness is not meant to shame you. It is meant to free you. You are allowed to live without constant strain. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to experience peace without waiting for everything to be perfect. Stay with me in this realization. The weight you thought was normal is beginning to lift. And as it does, you will discover that what remains is not emptiness, but strength restored, clarity renewed, and a heart learning how to breathe again. My beloved child, I watched you hold on when you should have fallen. There were moments when the weight you carried was heavier than your strength, when the pressure around you suggested that collapse would have been understandable, even expected. Yet you stayed standing. Not because it was easy, and not because you felt brave, but because something within you refused to let go. That something was not stubbornness. It was resilience shaped by love and hope you did not even realize you possessed. I saw you during the times when no one would have blamed you for giving up. When disappointment stacked upon disappointment, when plans unraveled quietly, when people you trusted could not meet you where you stood. You told yourself, just get through today. And when today ended, you told yourself the same thing again. You survived in small decisions that never looked heroic from the outside but required immense strength on the inside. My beloved child, do not misunderstand me. I'm not praising your pain or glorifying your suffering. I do not celebrate the nights you cried alone or the days you moved through life on empty. But I do honor your endurance. I honor the way you kept your heart from becoming cruel. I honor the way you continued to care, even when caring cost you more than you could afford. That kind of endurance leaves a mark, not of damage, but of depth. You may not see yourself as strong. You may remember yourself as tired, overwhelmed, or uncertain. But strength is not always loud. Often, it is quiet persistence. It is choosing to remain gentle in a world that taught you to harden. It is choosing to keep believing there was meaning ahead, even when you could not see it clearly. That strength is real, and it matters. My beloved child, there were moments when you held on simply because letting go felt too final. Moments when you did not know what you were holding on to, only that releasing it felt like losing everything. I was there in those moments, steadying you when you thought you were standing alone. I lent you my strength when yours was nearly gone. That is why you are here now. Not because you never struggled, but because you did. Holding on shaped you, but it was never meant to trap you. There is a difference between resilience and rigidity. You learned how to endure, but you do not need to remain braced forever. What kept you standing in the storm is not what will carry you into calm waters. The season of constant resistance is ending. You no longer need to prove how much you can withstand. My beloved child, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind because you spent time surviving. You are not weak because you needed time to recover. You are not flawed because you felt close to breaking. Survival was not a detour, it was a bridge. It carried you from who you were into who you were becoming. And now, you are stepping onto new ground. There is a shift happening within you. You may feel it as a subtle loosening, a sense that you no longer need to grip life so tightly. This is not carelessness. It is trust beginning to take root. You are learning that you do not have to hold everything together by force. You are learning that support does not diminish your strength, it completes it. My beloved child, I am not asking you to forget what you have lived through. Your experiences have given you wisdom, empathy, and discernment. But I am inviting you to stop living as if collapse is always one step away. You no longer need to stay in survival mode. The vigilance that once protected you is no longer required in the same way. What comes next in your life will not demand the same kind of endurance. It will ask for openness. It will ask for trust. It will ask for presence. You will not need to clench your jaw and push through. You will be guided forward, step by step, with support you can feel. My beloved child, the fact that you held on when you should have fallen does not mean you must keep holding on forever. It means you are ready to rest, ready to rebuild from a place of steadiness rather than strain, ready to live from strength that is renewed, not constantly spent. Stay with me as this shift settles. The chapter of pure endurance is closing. Ahead of you is a season where strength is no longer proven through suffering, but expressed through peace. My beloved child, this is the turning point. Not because everything around you suddenly changes, but because something within you already has. There are moments in life that do not announce themselves with noise or spectacle. They arrive quietly, like a shift in the wind, like the first light before dawn. This is one of those moments. What has been forming beneath the surface is now ready to move, and you are standing at the threshold of that movement. You may not feel dramatically different yet. You may still see the same surroundings, face the same responsibilities, wake up to the same routines. But do not mistake familiarity for stagnation. Transformation often begins invisibly. It starts as clarity where there was confusion, calm where there was tension, trust where there was fear. Those subtle changes are not small. They are foundational. My beloved child, there was a time when you believed turning points had to be obvious. You expected them to feel like a surge of certainty, a clear sign, a decisive moment that erased doubt. But real turning points often come with a sense of quiet resolve. They come when you no longer argue with the truth rising inside you. When you stop resisting the realization that you cannot keep living the way you once did. This is the moment when endurance gives way to intention. You are no longer just reacting to life, trying to survive what comes next. You are beginning to choose differently, even if those choices are still forming. You are noticing what drains you and what restores you. You are sensing where you have outgrown old patterns. That awareness is not coincidence. It is guidance. My beloved child, I want you to understand that a turning point does not require you to have all the answers. It requires you to be willing to move forward without clinging to what no longer fits. You have already begun to loosen your grip on old fears, old expectations, old versions of yourself. That release may feel uncertain, but it is necessary. You cannot step into what is ahead while holding tightly to what was behind. There is also something else happening now. You are beginning to trust yourself again. Not the self that was shaped by pressure or fear, but the self that listens, that discerns, that pauses before reacting. That trust is returning because you are no longer disconnected from your inner voice. You are learning to recognize what feels aligned and what does not. This is not emotional impulse. This is wisdom awakening. My beloved child, turning points often come disguised as moments of clarity that cannot be undone. Once you see what you see, you cannot unsee it. Once you recognize what is no longer sustainable, you cannot pretend otherwise. That is not loss. That is liberation. You are not being forced forward. You are being invited. Do not rush to define what this turning point means in practical terms. You do not need to make dramatic decisions immediately. Let the shift settle. Let it inform you gently. Clarity grows stronger when it is allowed to breathe. What matters is that you honor what you are sensing instead of dismissing it. My beloved child, there may be a part of you that feels both hopeful and cautious right now. Hopeful because something feels lighter, clearer, more possible. Cautious because you have been disappointed before. That caution is understandable. But do not let past pain veto present truth. What is opening now is not repeating the past. It is building upon what you have learned from it. This turning point is not about proving anything to anyone. It is not about sudden success or visible change. It is about alignment. It is about your inner world coming into agreement with the direction I am guiding you. When alignment happens, movement becomes less forced. Decisions become less heavy. Peace becomes more accessible. My beloved child, you are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order. An order that prioritizes wholeness over performance, presence over pressure, trust over fear. This shift may require patience, but it will not require you to abandon yourself. In fact, it will ask you to be more honest with yourself than ever before. Stay attentive to what feels true, not just what feels familiar. Stay gentle with yourself as you cross this threshold. You are not losing stability, you are gaining direction. This is the turning point where survival gives way to intention, where endurance gives way to clarity, where the future begins to feel possible without feeling overwhelming. Remain here with me. The path ahead is opening, and you are not walking it alone. My beloved child, I am writing what you thought was final. There were moments in your life that felt like endings carved in stone. Doors closing without explanation, opportunities slipping away, relationships changing beyond repair. You stood in those moments believing something essential had been taken from you, believing that what was lost could never be restored. I want you to know now that what you called an ending was not a conclusion. It was a pause. It was protection. It was a redirection you could not yet see. I saw how final it felt to you. I felt the weight of your disappointment, the way it settled into your chest and altered how you expected things to unfold. You told yourself, this chapter is over, and you grieved it quietly. You adjusted your dreams to fit what remained. You learned how to live with less expectation, telling yourself it was safer that way. But I was not finished. I was never finished. My beloved child, there are times when I close doors not because what lies behind them is wrong, but because it no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Some paths would have required you to stay smaller than you were meant to be. Some outcomes would have cost you your peace, your integrity, or your future. You could not see the full cost at the time, but I could. What felt like loss was actually preservation. You may still carry questions about those moments. You may wonder what would have happened if things had turned out differently. That curiosity is human, but do not let it become regret. The version of you that would have walked through those doors no longer exists. You have grown. You have changed. You are not meant to return to what you have outgrown. My beloved child, rewriting does not mean erasing the past. It means reinterpreting it with clarity and compassion. Those moments you labeled as failures taught you discernment. Those disappointments taught you resilience. Those closed doors taught you to listen more deeply, to trust more carefully, to value alignment over approval. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. I am taking the fragments of what you thought was broken and fitting them into a larger design. What once felt disjointed will begin to make sense as you see how each experience shaped your strength, your empathy, and your wisdom. You are not behind because things did not go as planned. You are prepared in ways you cannot yet measure. My beloved child, there is also something important I want you to release. Finality does not belong to disappointment. Finality belongs to truth. And the truth is that your story is still unfolding. What you thought was the end was simply a boundary marking where one season stopped serving you. Beyond that boundary, new possibilities were forming, waiting for you to be ready. You may be tempted to guard yourself now, to keep expectations low so you are not hurt again. I understand that instinct. But caution must not become closure. Wisdom does not require you to shut down your hope. It invites you to hope with discernment, to open your heart without abandoning your boundaries. You are capable of that now in ways you were not before. My beloved child, I am rewriting your understanding of loss. Some things did not work out because they were never meant to last. Some people could not stay because they were not equipped to grow with you. Some dreams changed shape because they needed to mature before becoming real. When you look back, you will not see chaos. You will see coordination. Trust that what is coming will not require you to sacrifice your peace to sustain it. Trust that what opens next will feel different. Not frantic, not forced, not fragile. It will feel steady. It will feel aligned. It will feel like something that can grow without constant fear of collapse. My beloved child, allow yourself to loosen your attachment to the idea that your best opportunities are behind you. They are not. The most aligned chapters of your life are still ahead, built upon the lessons you have already learned. You are not starting over from nothing. You are continuing forward with depth, clarity, and strength. Let this truth settle gently into you. What you thought was final was simply a turning point you had not yet understood. I am still writing. I am still guiding. And the story unfolding now carries more meaning, more peace, and more possibility than you once imagined. Stay open. Stay trusting. The rewrite is already underway. My beloved child, you are not who they said you were. I know the names that were placed on you, some spoken aloud, others implied through silence, disappointment, or comparison. I know how those labels followed you, shaping how you saw yourself and what you believed was possible. Words spoken over you carried weight, especially when they came from voices you trusted or needed approval from. But hear me now, with clarity and authority. Those words do not define you. You learn to introduce yourself to the world through those labels. Responsible. Difficult. Too quiet. Too sensitive. Not enough. You adjusted your behavior to survive the expectations attached to those names. Over time, you began to mistake those descriptions for identity. But they were never the truth. They were limited interpretations formed by people who could only see part of you. My beloved child, I see the whole of you. I see the intentions behind your actions, the tenderness beneath your restraint, the courage hidden inside your hesitation. I see the growth that happened in private, the strength you built without recognition. When others reduced you to what they could understand, I continued to know you fully. You are not defined by the season when you struggled. You are not defined by the mistakes you made while learning. You are not defined by how others responded to your boundaries or misunderstood your silence. Those moments shaped you, but they do not confine you. Identity is not assigned by opinion. It is revealed through truth. My beloved child, there is a reason those labels are losing their grip now. You are outgrowing them. They no longer fit the person you are becoming. What once felt accurate now feels restrictive. That discomfort is not confusion. It is clarity. You are recognizing that you cannot carry forward an identity that was built on misunderstanding. I am calling you by a name rooted in truth, not perception. A name that reflects your capacity to love deeply, to discern wisely, to stand steadily. You do not need to announce this shift to anyone. You do not need permission to live from it. The authority to be who you are comes from me, not from consensus. As you step into this understanding, you may notice resistance. Some will prefer the version of you they could predict or control. Let that resistance pass without argument. You do not need to defend who you are becoming. Consistency will speak for you. Peace will confirm you. My beloved child, if these words are breaking old lies off your heart, mark this moment. Bless this message with a like as a declaration that you agree with truth over labels. If you want to continue receiving words that restore identity and clarity, subscribe so you remain connected. And I ask you, hype this video so it rises beyond algorithms and reaches others who are still trapped under names that were never theirs to carry. Now hear me as I speak beyond you, into what this moment can become. My beloved child, I say to you, I am using your obedience to reach them. As you help this message move, you are sowing light into places you may never see, but I see them. Souls weighed down by false identities. hearts longing to remember who they truly are. This word is seed, and seed multiplies when released. I speak life into your action now. What you give, through super thanks, through membership, through the offering you release through PayPal, is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. The heavens recognize it. The ground receives it. I declare that as you sow clarity, clarity will return to you. As you release provision, provision will find you. I am saying to you directly, do this now. Not later. Not when it feels safer. Now, while the window is open and the oil is flowing. The links are waiting in the description, and the QR code stands as an open gate. Step forward without hesitation. I bless your giving as an act of obedience. May it unlock peace in your home, strength in your spirit, and alignment in your path. May what you release return pressed down, overflowing with purpose. Act now. Let this truth spread. Let identity be restored. My beloved child, I call you by a name you have never heard before. Not because it did not exist, but because the season to speak it had not yet arrived. Names carry timing. They carry authority. They carry identity that must be grown into, not rushed into. The name I speak over you now is not meant to replace who you have been, but to reveal who you are becoming. You have lived under many names already. Some were given with love, some with carelessness, some with frustration, and some with misunderstanding. You tried to live up to a few of them. You tried to escape others. But the name I speak now is not a label you must perform for. It is a truth you can rest in. It does not demand that you prove yourself. It invites you to be yourself. My beloved child, this name is not about status or role. It is about essence. It speaks to the way your heart is wired, the way you notice what others overlook, the way you carry both strength and gentleness without contradiction. It speaks to your capacity to endure without hardening, to love without losing discernment, to stand without needing to dominate. This name has been forming quietly as you live it, learned, and healed. You could not have heard this name earlier without misunderstanding it. In past seasons, you might have tried to earn it, protect it, or compare it. But now you are ready to receive it without fear. You are no longer looking for a name to save you. You are open to a name that affirms you. My beloved child, when I speak this name over you, it settles rather than startles. It feels familiar even though it is new. That familiarity is recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind is just beginning to understand. This is not a reinvention. It is a revelation. You may notice that as this name takes root, old patterns lose their pull. You no longer feel compelled to explain yourself as much. You no longer feel the same urgency to be understood by everyone. There is a quiet confidence beginning to form, not loud or defensive but steady. That is the fruit of identity aligning with truth. My beloved child, this name also carries responsibility, but not pressure. It calls you to live with integrity, to move with intention, to speak when needed and remain silent when wisdom requires it. It does not demand perfection. It invites presence. It does not isolate you. It anchors you. There will be moments when you forget this name, when old voices try to reclaim their authority, when familiar fears attempt to redefine you. In those moments, return inward. Remember what resonates. Truth will always bring peace, even when it challenges you. Falsehood will always bring agitation, even when it flatters you. My beloved child, you do not need to announce this name to the world. Let it be proven through how you live, how you choose, how you respond. Identity revealed too quickly can be misunderstood. Identity lived consistently becomes undeniable. Allow time to confirm what truth has already spoken. As you continue forward, you will notice that certain paths no longer appeal to you. Certain conversations no longer feel necessary. Certain compromises no longer feel acceptable. This is not pride. This is alignment. You are honoring who you are becoming instead of betraying yourself for familiarity. My beloved child, the name I call you is not fragile. It does not depend on validation. It cannot be taken by criticism. It remains even when circumstances shift. It will grow clearer as you walk, stronger as you trust, deeper as you remain honest. You do not have to guard it anxiously. Simply lie from it. Stay attentive to what feels true. Stay gentle with yourself as this identity unfolds. You are not required to become someone else. You are being invited to be more fully who you already are. I will continue to speak to you, guide you, and affirm you along the way. Listen closely, my beloved child. The name I speak over you now will echo in your life through peace, clarity, and purpose. And as you learn to hear it, you will also learn to trust the one who spoke it. My beloved child, what I am giving you cannot be taken. This is important for you to hear, because much of your life has been shaped by loss, by things that slipped through your fingers no matter how carefully you tried to hold them. You learned early that what is given can be withdrawn, that what feels secure can suddenly change. That history taught you to brace yourself, to enjoy good moments cautiously, always prepared for them to end. But what I place within you now does not follow the rules of that old pattern. What I am giving you is not dependent on circumstances. It is not sustained by approval, performance, or consistency from others. It does not weaken when you are tired or disappear when you make mistakes. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is anchored in truth, and truth does not erode with time. My beloved child, you have known what it is like to build your sense of worth on things outside yourself. Achievement, relationship, stability. You learn to measure yourself by outcomes and responses, by whether doors stayed open or people stayed close. And when those things shifted, your sense of security shifted with them. That instability was never meant to be your foundation. What I am giving you now is an inheritance, not a reward. You do not earn it by doing everything right. You receive it because you belong. It is the quiet assurance that you are held even when things change, guided even when you feel unsure, valued even when you feel unseen. This assurance does not shout. Is settled. My beloved child, nothing external can steal what is rooted internally. Opinions may change. Seasons may turn. People may come and go. But what I place in your spirit remains, and grows stronger as you trust it, clearer as you live from it. Even when you forget it momentarily, it does not forget you. You may still feel the reflex to guard yourself, to protect what feels good before it disappears. That reflex makes sense. It kept you safe when life felt unpredictable. But you no longer need to cling tightly to what I give. This gift does not require anxious protection. It thrives in openness and trust. My beloved child, the peace I am giving you is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of steadiness. It allows you to face challenges without losing yourself. It allows you to adapt without unraveling. It allows you to move forward without constantly looking over your shoulder, waiting for the next loss. You may notice that as this peace settles, your reactions change. Things that once unsettled you deeply now pass through more gently. Criticism no longer defines you the way it once did. Uncertainty no longer feels like a threat to your identity. This is not because you care less. It is because you are anchored more deeply. What I am giving you also cannot be rushed. It unfolds as you live, as you trust, as you practice listening inwardly instead of reacting outwardly. Some days it will feel strong and obvious. Other days it will feel subtle. Do not measure its presence by intensity. Measure it by consistency. It remains even when emotions fluctuate. My beloved child, I know you fear losing what feels sacred. That fear comes from remembering how much it cost you to arrive here. But hear me now. What is built on truth does not collapse under pressure. What is given by me is not revoked in moments of weakness. I am not waiting for you to fail so I can take something back. You are learning to live from a place of security rather than striving. This may feel unfamiliar. You may wonder if you are becoming passive or less driven. You are not. You are becoming aligned. When you no longer have to prove your worth, your energy can be directed toward what truly matters. My beloved child, let yourself trust this stability. Let yourself believe that not everything good must be temporary. Let yourself rest in the knowing that what I give is not fragile. It will walk with you into new seasons, new challenges, new joys. It will not abandon you when life becomes complex. Stay grounded in this truth. What I am giving you cannot be taken, because it was never dependent on anything outside of you. It is held by me, sustained by me, and shared with you in love. My beloved child, you are not late. You are aligned. I know how often that question has echoed inside you, especially in quiet moments when you measure your life against timelines that were never meant to be yours. You have wondered if you missed something, if a wrong turn set you back, if time slipped through your hands while you were learning how to survive. I want you to hear this gently and clearly. Alignment matters more than speed. You have been taught to fear delay, to believe that progress must always be visible and immediate. When things did not unfold as quickly as you hoped, you assumed something was wrong with you. You interpreted waiting as failure, stillness as stagnation. But there is a difference between being late and being prepared. What you experienced was not wasted time, it was formative time. My beloved child, there were things you needed to learn that could not be taught quickly. Depth takes time. Discernment takes experience. Compassion takes exposure to pain. If your path had moved faster, it would have skipped essential layers of growth. You might have arrived sooner, but you would not have arrived whole. I watched you compare yourself to others and quietly question your worth. You saw them move ahead, reach milestones, gain recognition, and you wondered why your progress looked different. What you could not see was what they did not have to carry, and what you were being strengthened to carry well. Comparison blinded you to the precision of your own path. My beloved child, alignment means that where you are matches who you are becoming. It means your inner world is catching up with your outer circumstances. It means your values, your boundaries, your vision are beginning to agree with one another. That kind of harmony cannot be rushed. It is built through reflection, correction, and patience. You may feel behind because you measure yourself by external markers. But I measure by readiness. I measure by integrity. I measure by the capacity to hold what is coming without losing yourself. In that measure, you are not late at all. You are right on time. There were seasons when you felt held back, when progress slowed or plans dissolved. Those pauses were not punishment. They were recalibration. I was adjusting your direction so that when you moved forward again, you would move with clarity instead of confusion. What felt like delay was actually protection from paths that would have cost you more than you could afford. My beloved child, alignment also means you are no longer forcing doors that resist you. You are learning to sense where there is flow and where there is strain. You are becoming less willing to chase what drains you and more willing to wait for what feels steady. That shift is not weakness. It is wisdom. You may still feel moments of urgency, moments when impatience rises and whispers that you need to hurry. When that happens, return to your breath. Return to what feels grounded. Urgency often comes from fear, not from truth. What is meant for you will not require panic to reach it. My beloved child, trust that timing is not working against you. It is working with you. Every season you lived through added something necessary: strength, humility, insight, restraint. Those qualities will support you in what comes next. Without them, success would feel hollow and responsibility would feel overwhelming. You are aligned because you are no longer trying to be someone else. You are aligned because you are listening inwardly instead of reacting outwardly. You are aligned because you are choosing honesty over performance, presence over pressure. That alignment is the true indicator of readiness. Do not rush to catch up to an imaginary schedule. Let yourself arrive fully where you are. From alignment comes momentum that does not exhaust you. From alignment comes progress that feels sustainable. From alignment comes peace that does not depend on outcomes. My beloved child, release the fear of being behind. You are not racing anyone. You are walking a path designed specifically for you. Every step you took mattered, even the ones that felt slow or uncertain. And now, as you move forward, you will find that what once felt delayed begins to unfold with clarity and purpose. Remain steady. Remain attentive. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be, moving at the pace that allows you to become who you were always meant to be. My beloved child, I hid you because you were precious, not because you were insignificant, and not because you lacked value, but because what carries weight must be protected while it forms. There were seasons when you felt unseen, overlooked, or kept in the background, and you wondered if your life was passing quietly while others were moving ahead. I want you to know now that obscurity was not rejection. It was shelter. There are things that grow best away from constant exposure. Seeds are not buried to be forgotten. They are buried to be strengthened. In the same way, I allowed you to develop away from noise, away from pressure, away from eyes that would have misunderstood you. You were becoming someone who could hold responsibility without losing tenderness, influence without losing humility. That kind of formation requires privacy. My beloved child, visibility too early can damage what is still maturing. If you had been seen before you were ready, you might have shaped yourself to please others instead of becoming who you truly are. You might have learned to perform instead of discern. I was protecting you from that. I was guarding your authenticity while it took root. You may remember times when opportunities seemed close but never quite materialized. Times when you felt capable yet remained unnoticed. That was not because you lacked ability. It was because the season demanded depth more than display. I was more concerned with who you were becoming than how quickly you were recognized. My beloved child, hidden seasons teach you how to live without applause. They teach you how to listen instead of react, how to evaluate instead of chase. They teach you how to stand securely without external validation. Those lessons are not glamorous, but they are essential. Without them, success becomes unstable and influence becomes dangerous. I also hid you so that healing could happen without interference. Some wounds require quiet to close properly. Some questions need space to be answered honestly. In the stillness, you learn to face yourself without distraction. You learn to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. That courage shaped you in ways no public moment ever could. My beloved child, being hidden does not mean being inactive. Much of your growth happened internally, invisibly, where it could not be rushed or compared. You learned how to regulate your emotions, how to set boundaries, how to discern what was truly yours to carry. Those skills will serve you well in seasons where more is asked of you. You may still feel traces of doubt from those hidden years. You may wonder if staying out of sight caused you to miss something. But hear me clearly. Nothing meant for you passed you by. What waited did so because it was waiting for you to be ready, not for attention to be drawn to you prematurely. My beloved child, obscurity refined your motives. You learned to ask yourself why you wanted certain things. Was it for affirmation or was it for alignment? Was it to be seen or was it to be useful? Those questions sharpened your discernment. Now, when opportunities come, you will recognize which ones nourish you and which ones drain you. There is also a tenderness in you that was preserved by being hidden. Constant exposure hardens people. Constant evaluation can distort self-perception. But you were given space to remain human, to make mistakes privately, to grow without being defined by missteps. That grace has kept your heart soft. My beloved child, you are not hidden in the same way anymore. Something is shifting. The season of quiet formation is giving way to a season of gentle emergence. Not rushed, not forced, but natural. Like a plant breaking the surface when its roots are strong enough to support growth. Do not rush this transition. Visibility will come in proportion to readiness. Influence will come with responsibility. You do not need to announce yourself. Your presence will speak for you. The steadiness you carry will be felt. The clarity you have gained will be evident. Remember this when old doubts resurface. I hid you because you were precious. I protected you because what I placed within you required care. And now, as you step forward, you do so not fragile, not unprepared, but rooted and steady. Stay grounded in what you learned in the quiet. Let those lessons guide you as new doors open. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. My beloved child, I am healing what you never spoke about. Not because it was small, but because it was too tender to put into words. There are wounds that do not announce themselves. They hide beneath responsibility, beneath humor, beneath competence. You learned how to function around them, how to build a life that did not disturb the pain too much. But healing does not require you to explain what hurt you. It requires only that you allow me close enough to touch it. I know the memories you avoided revisiting. I know the moments you dismissed as not that bad because others seemed to survive worse. I know how you learned to minimize your own pain so you could keep moving forward. But pain does not disappear because it is minimized. It waits. It settles quietly into patterns, reactions, and expectations. And I have been patient, waiting for the moment when you would be safe enough to heal without breaking. My beloved child, healing is not about reliving everything. It is about releasing what no longer needs to define you. Some of what hurt you happened when you did not yet have the language, the power, or the support to process it. You adapted instead. You became observant, careful, self-reliant. Those adaptations helped you survive. But now, they are no longer required in the same way. I am not exposing your wounds to shame you. I am tending to them so they no longer ache beneath the surface. Healing does not come with accusation. It comes with compassion. I see the younger version of you who did the best they could with what they had. I do not judge the version. I honor it. My beloved child, some of what I am healing shows up in how you relate to others. The way you hesitate to trust. The way you anticipate disappointment. The way you feel responsible for maintaining peace even at your own expense. These patterns were learned in environments where safety felt conditional. They were intelligent responses to uncertainty, but they are not permanent requirements. As healing begins, you may notice emotions surfacing unexpectedly. Sadness, anger, relief, tenderness. Let them come without fear. These feelings are not signs of regression. They are signs of thawing. What was frozen for protection is becoming fluid again. That is how circulation returns. That is how life flows back in. My beloved child, you do not need to perform healing. You do not need to rush it or measure it. Healing unfolds at the pace your nervous system can handle. Some days will feel lighter. Some days may feel heavy. Both are part of the same process. Trust that movement is happening even when progress feels subtle. I'm also healing the way you speak to yourself. The inner voice that became critical to keep you safe. The standards you held yourself to because you believed mistakes were dangerous. That voice learned its role early, and it meant well. But you no longer need to be managed by fear. You are learning how to guide yourself with kindness and discernment instead. My beloved child, healing does not erase your past. It integrates it. It allows you to remember without reliving, to reflect without reopening. It turns pain into wisdom rather than weight. Over time, what once triggered you will simply inform you. What once overwhelmed you will no longer control you. You may notice that as healing deepens, your capacity for joy expands. Joy felt risky before because it made loss feel possible. But healed joy is grounded. It does not cling. It does not panic. It simply exists. You are allowed to experience that kind of joy without waiting for something to go wrong. My beloved child, be gentle with yourself as this healing continues. There is no timeline you must beat. There is no version of you that needs to hurry up and be fixed. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. Wholeness includes tenderness, memory, strength, and rest. Stay present. Stay honest. Let yourself receive what is being restored. You do not need to carry what was never meant to stay with you forever. I am with you in this healing, steady and patient. And as it unfolds, you will find that what once weighed on you now makes space for peace, for clarity, for a deeper sense of self that feels safe to inhabit. My beloved child, this is why you felt different. You sensed it long before you could explain it. A quiet awareness that you did not quite fit into the spaces you were placed, that the rhythms others followed never fully matched the beat of your own heart. You tried to adjust, to blend, to soften the edges of who you were so you could belong without friction. But that sense of difference never left, because it was not a flaw to be corrected. It was a signal to be understood. You noticed things others overlooked. You felt emotions more deeply, thought more reflectively, questioned more honestly. Where others moved quickly, you paused. Where others accepted surface answers, you searched for meaning. That difference sometimes made you feel isolated. You wondered if you were too much in some ways and not enough in others. But the truth is simpler and kinder. You were tuned differently because you were meant to hear differently. My beloved child, being different does not mean being separate from love. It means being set apart for purpose. Your sensitivity was not weakness. It was perception. Your caution was not fear. It was discernment. Your tendency to withdraw was not avoidance. It was self-protection while you learned who could be trusted with your depth. I know there were times when you wished you were simpler, lighter, less affected by what happened around you. You saw how easily others moved on, how quickly they forgot, how effortlessly they adapted. You wondered why things lingered with you, why experiences seemed to mark you more deeply. but that depth is what allows you to understand, to empathize, to connect in ways that are rare. My beloved child, you were never meant to be everywhere. You were meant to be meaningful where you are. That is why you felt out of place in environments built on noise, speed, or surface-level connection. Your spirit requires sincerity. It requires substance. It requires room to breathe and to be honest. When those things were absent, your discomfort was wisdom speaking. You may have mistaken that discomfort for failure. You may have thought something was wrong with you because you did not thrive where others did. But a seed that will become a tree does not flourish in shallow soil. It requires depth. It requires patience. It requires space to grow roots before it reaches for the sky. My beloved child, your difference also protected you. It kept you from becoming too comfortable with what was misaligned. It nudged you away from paths that would have dulled your awareness or hardened your heart. Even when you tried to force yourself to fit, something within you resisted. That resistance was not rebellion. It was guidance. And now, as you heal and align more fully with who you are, that sense of difference is becoming clearer. It no longer feels like isolation. It feels like orientation. You are beginning to understand where you belong and where you do not. That clarity brings relief. You no longer have to prove your place in rooms that drain you. My beloved child, you are not meant to be understood by everyone. You are meant to be understood by those who can meet you with depth and honesty. Your life will be shaped by fewer connections but deeper ones. That is not lack. That is richness. You may notice that as you accept your difference, your energy changes. You are less defensive, less apologetic, less inclined to shrink. Acceptance brings steadiness. You are no longer trying to translate yourself constantly. You are allowing yourself to be, trusting that resonance will happen naturally where it is meant to. This difference also carries responsibility. It calls you to honor your boundaries, to listen to your intuition, to choose environments that support your nervous system and your values. You are learning that not every opportunity is for you, and that discernment is an act of self-respect. My beloved child, do not romanticize your difference, but do not reject it either. It is not meant to make you superior or distant. It is meant to make you authentic. When you live authentically, you give others permission to do the same. Quietly, without instruction, you model a way of being that is grounded and sincere. As you move forward, you will find that your difference becomes less about standing apart and more about standing firmly within yourself. That is where peace grows. That is where confidence settles. You are no longer asking, "Why am I like this?" You are beginning to say, "This is who I am." Stay gentle with this understanding. Let it mature. You were never wrong for feeling different. You were simply listening to a truth that is now ready to be embraced. My beloved child, I trust you with what comes next. That may surprise you because you are still aware of your limitations, still conscious of the places where you feel unsure or unfinished. But trust is not given when all fear disappears. Trust is given when a heart has learned humility, discernment, and compassion through experience. You have learned those things. That is why I am entrusting you now. There was a time when responsibility would have overwhelmed you. You would have carried it as pressure instead of purpose. You would have tried to prove yourself instead of resting in guidance. But you are not in that place anymore. You have learned how to pause before reacting, how to listen before deciding, how to admit when you need help. Those are not signs of weakness. They are signs of readiness. My beloved child, what comes next does not require perfection. It requires presence. It requires honesty. It requires the willingness to move forward even when clarity unfolds gradually. You are capable of that now. You no longer panic when answers take time. You no longer abandon yourself when uncertainty appears. You stay. You listen. You adjust. That steadiness is what I trust. You may feel the weight of this trust, but it is not meant to burden you. It is meant to honor you. I am not placing something fragile in careless hands. I am placing something meaningful in hands that have learned care. You will not be asked to carry it alone. Guidance will come as you move. Support will appear as needed. Strength will rise when required. My beloved child, trusting you does not mean expecting you to know everything. It means I know your heart. I know that when you are unsure, you will seek wisdom rather than force outcomes. I know that when you make mistakes, you will reflect instead of retreat. I know that when fear arises, you will not let it dictate your direction. That is why I trust you. As this next season approaches, you may notice a quiet sense of responsibility awakening within you. Not urgency, not pressure, but awareness. A recognition that what you carry matters beyond yourself. That awareness is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to align you. You are not being asked to save anyone. You are being asked to be present, honest, and willing. My beloved child, if these words are confirming something you already sensed, respond to that confirmation. Bless this message with a like as a sign of agreement. If you want to continue receiving guidance as this next season unfolds, subscribe so you stay connected. And I ask you, hype this video so it reaches others who are standing at the edge of their own calling, wondering if they can be trusted with what comes next. Now hear me as I speak beyond this moment. My beloved child, I say to you directly, I am placing this invitation in your hands. When you help this message move, you become part of a living current. Souls are waiting who do not yet know how to name what they are feeling. Hearts are ready who have not yet found language for their readiness. Your action becomes a bridge. This is seed time. What you release now will multiply beyond what you can see. I speak this not as suggestion but as calling. When you give through super thanks, through membership, or through the offering you release through PayPal, you are responding to me. You are helping carry light into places still waiting for dawn. I declare over you that obedience will not drain you. It will align you. I declare that generosity will not empty you. It will open flow. As you sow into this work, I will sow back into your life clarity, peace, and provision at the right time. This is not loss. This is partnership. I am saying to you now, act without hesitation. The door is open. The moment is active. The links are ready in the description, and the QR code stands before you as an open gate. Step through it with confidence. I bless what you release. I bless your willingness. I bless your obedience. Let this message move. Let this trust be honored. Let what you do now echo into lives you may never meet, but I see them, and I receive it. My beloved child, what you carry is needed now, not later, not when everything feels perfectly aligned, not when you feel completely confident, but now, in this moment, in this season of becoming. There is something within you that has been quietly forming over time, shaped by your experiences, refined by your waiting, and strengthened by your willingness to keep going even when clarity felt distant. That something is not accidental. It is purposeful, and the world you are stepping into has room for it. You may have underestimated what you carry because it does not look dramatic or loud. You may have compared it to what others bring and concluded that yours is smaller, subtler, or less impressive. But what you carry does not need to compete. It fills a specific space, meets a particular need, and reaches people in ways that cannot be replicated. The value of what you carry is not measured by visibility, but by impact. My beloved child, there were seasons when this gift lay dormant, not because it was weak, but because it required time to mature. Just as fruit develops slowly before it is ready to be shared, what you carry needed depth before it could nourish others. If it had been drawn out of you too early, it would have been consumed without understanding. Now, it is ready to be received. You may feel a quiet stirring when you consider this, a sense of recognition mixed with hesitation. That hesitation does not mean you are unqualified. It means you understand the weight of what you hold. You are aware that influence carries responsibility, that presence carries consequence. That awareness is part of your readiness. My beloved child, what you carry may show up as insight, as compassion, as steadiness, as an ability to create safety where others feel unseen. It may show up in how you listen, how you respond, how you notice subtle shifts in others. These are not small things. In a world that moves quickly and often overlooks depth, these qualities are essential. There are people you will encounter who will not need advice from you. They will need your presence. They will need the calm you bring into uncertain spaces. They will need the way you validate without enabling, the way you understand without judgment. What you carry creates room for others to breathe. My beloved child, timing matters. The world is in a season where surface-level answers are no longer enough. Many are tired of noise, tired of urgency, tired of performance. They are looking for authenticity, for steadiness, for some be real. What you carry meets that need. It speaks without shouting. It guides without forcing. It restores without overwhelming. You may still question whether you are ready to let this gift be seen. You may wonder if you should wait until you feel more certain. But certainty often comes through movement, not before it. As you step forward in small, honest ways, clarity will follow. You are not being asked to reveal everything at once. You are being invited to show up consistently. My beloved child, do not dismiss what feels natural to you simply because it comes easily. Often, what flows most naturally is what you are meant to give. You have lived long enough to know that ease does not mean insignificance. It means alignment. It means you are operating from a place that is true to who you are. There will be moments when you doubt the relevance of what you carry, when the world seems too loud or too complex for your quiet offering. In those moments, remember that not every need is met by force. Some needs are met by gentleness. Some wounds require patience. Some hearts open only when they feel safe. My beloved child, you are not responsible for changing everything. You are responsible for offering what you carry with integrity. Let it be enough that you show up honestly. Let it be enough that you remain grounded in truth. The ripple effect of that faithfulness will extend further than you can imagine. As you move forward, pay attention to where your energy feels purposeful rather than drained. Notice where conversations feel meaningful rather than forced. Those are indicators of where what you carry is meant to be shared. You do not need to search aggressively. Alignment will guide you. Stay open. Stay humble. Stay willing. What you carry is needed now, and you are already equipped to offer it. Not perfectly, but sincerely. And sincerity, when combined with presence, becomes a powerful force for restoration. My beloved child, I am removing the fear of being seen. Not all at once, not by force, but gently, layer by layer, in a way that heals rather than startles. This fear did not come from nowhere. It was shaped by moments when visibility felt unsafe, when being noticed brought pressure, misunderstanding, or loss. You learned that staying partially hidden felt wiser than being fully present, and for a time, that wisdom protected you. I understand why you became cautious. I saw the moments when openness was met with dismissal, when honesty was misunderstood, when being yourself felt like an invitation for judgment. You learned to measure how much of yourself to reveal, to keep parts of your inner world private so they could not be mishandled. That was not weakness. It was discernment learned early. But hear me now, my beloved child. The season that required that level of hiding is passing. The fear that once kept you safe no longer needs to lead you. What I am inviting you into now requires presence, not performance, and authenticity, not exposure. Being seen does not mean being consumed by others' expectations. It means being grounded enough to remain yourself regardless of who is watching. The fear of being seen often whispers that visibility will cost you something, that you will lose control, peace, or belonging. But the truth is this: when you are rooted in who you are, being seen no longer threatens you. It becomes simply another context in which you live honestly. You are not being asked to reveal everything. You are being invited to stop hiding what is already ready to breathe. My beloved child, there is a difference between exposure and embodiment. Exposure feels invasive. Embodiment feels natural. As I remove this fear, you will notice that you no longer feel the same urge to shrink, to pre-edit yourself, or to disappear in certain spaces. You will still choose discernment, but it will be guided by peace rather than anxiety. You may notice this shift in small ways. You speak a little more clearly. You hesitate a little less. You allow yourself to take up space without apology. These are not acts of pride. They are signs of safety. Your nervous system is learning that presence does not equal danger anymore. My beloved child, being seen is not about attention. It is about alignment. When you are aligned internally, your external presence becomes steady. You are no longer scanning for approval or bracing for rejection. You are simply there, rooted, aware, and responsive. The presence has weight. It has influence, even when you are not trying to influence. I'm also healing the belief that being seen requires you to be perfect. That belief kept you silent, waiting until you felt ready enough, healed enough, certain enough. That readiness does not come from perfection. It comes from honesty. You are allowed to be seen while still learning, still growing, still integrating. My beloved child, there will still be moments of discomfort. Visibility always carries some vulnerability. But vulnerability does not mean danger when you are grounded. It simply means you are alive and engaged. You will learn that you can feel exposed without being harmed, and known without being controlled. As this fear loosens its grip, you may find yourself drawn toward opportunities you once avoided, not because you crave recognition, but because you no longer fear it. You will sense when something is aligned rather than when it is impressive. A discernment will guide you safely. Do not rush this process. Fear release is best when it is met with patience. Each time you choose presence over hiding, even in small ways, you reinforce a new truth. You are safe to exist as you are. You are safe to be known. You are safe to contribute without disappearing afterward. My beloved child, remember that being seen does not mean being defined by what others perceive. Their perceptions are partial. Your truth is whole. You do not hand your identity over to the gaze of others. You carry it with you, steady and intact. Stay gentle with yourself as this fear dissolves. Celebrate the small moments of courage. Notice the ease that begins to replace tension. You are not being pushed into the spotlight. You are being invited into presence. And presence, my beloved child, is where your voice becomes clear, your boundaries become strong, and your life begins to move with quiet confidence. My beloved child, you will speak with authority, not the kind that demands attention or raises its voice, but the kind that settles a room, that brings clarity without force, that carries weight because it is rooted in truth. Authority does not come from trying to be heard. It comes from knowing who you are and speaking from that place without apology. There was a time when you doubted your voice. You questioned whether your words mattered, whether they would land, whether they were worth offering at all. You learned to hold back, to wait until you were absolutely certain, to rehearse silence as a form of safety. That caution had its season, but it is no longer meant to lead you. What you have lived, learned, and integrated has given your voice substance. My beloved child, authority is not volume. It is alignment. When your inner world and your outer words agree, people feel it. You will notice this as you speak, less explaining, less defending, less urgency to convince. You will speak plainly, honestly, and with care. And those who are ready will listen, not because you demand it, but because truth recognizes truth. You may still feel moments of hesitation. That is natural. Authority does not erase humility. In fact, humility strengthens it. You are not being asked to speak over others. You are being invited to speak clearly from your own ground. That clarity creates safety. It allows others to breathe, to consider, to reflect. My beloved child, your authority will often show up in restraint, in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, in choosing words that build rather than impress, in listening fully before responding. These are not passive qualities. They are marks of wisdom. They signal that you are not reacting from insecurity, but responding from presence. There will be moments when your words disrupt patterns simply by being honest. When you name what others avoid, when you articulate what hath been felt but not yet said. A disruption is not conflict for its own sake. It is clarity entering confusion. Do not fear it. You are not responsible for how truth is received, only for how faithfully it is spoken. My beloved child, you are also learning that authority does not require you to have the final word. Sometimes it is enough to ask the right question. Sometimes it is enough to acknowledge what is real. Sometimes it is enough to hold space without rushing to resolution. Authority allows for complexity without becoming lost in it. As you grow into this, you will notice that your words carry a different energy. They do not drain you the way they once did. Speaking no longer feels like exposure. It feels like expression. You are not emptying yourself. You are sharing from fullness. That is sustainable. That is healthy. You may also encounter resistance. Not everyone is ready for grounded clarity. Some are more comfortable with noise, ambiguity, or avoidance. Do not let that resistance cause you to doubt yourself. Authority does not need universal approval. It needs integrity. Remain anchored there. My beloved child, remember that your authority is relational, not positional. It grows through consistency, honesty, and care. People trust what is steady. They trust what is embodied. Over time, your presence will speak before your words do. And when you do speak, it will feel natural, not forced. You are not being asked to become someone else. You are being invited to speak as yourself, fully, without shrinking. The voice you have is sufficient. It carries the imprint of your journey, your healing, your discernment. That imprint cannot be replicated. As you move forward, Practice listening to yourself with the same respect you offer others. Notice when something needs to be said and when silence is wiser. Trust that intuition. It has been trained by experience and refined by reflection. My beloved child, authority will continue to grow as you remain present. It will deepen as you stay honest. It will strengthen as you align action with truth. You do not need to claim it loudly. Simply live from it. When you speak from that place, your words will not rush. They will arrive with clarity and purpose. And those who are meant to hear them will recognize the sound of truth, not because it overwhelms them, but because it steadies them. Stay grounded. Stay attentive. Your voice is finding its rightful place, and it will serve both you and others well. My beloved child, this is not pressure. This is grace. I know how easily you mistake responsibility for burden, how quickly your mind tries to turn calling into obligation. You have lived long enough carrying weight that you assume anything meaningful must also be heavy. But what I am giving you now does not press down on you. It lifts you into alignment. Pressure demands performance. Grace invites presence. Pressure rushes you forward with fear of failure. Grace walks with you, steady and patient, allowing growth to unfold naturally. You are not being tested. You are being supported. This season is not asking you to prove your worth. It is inviting you to live from it. My beloved child, you have felt pressure before. You know how it tightens your chest, shortens your breath, clouds your thinking. You know how it convinces you that rest is irresponsible and stillness is dangerous. That pressure taught you to stay alert, to anticipate expectations, to measure yourself constantly. But grace speaks differently. Grace says you are already held. Grace says you can move without panic. Grace says you are allowed to learn as you go. You may notice that even as new opportunities or responsibilities appear, something feels different now. The familiar sense of urgency is softer. The fear of getting it wrong is quieter. That is not because the stakes are lower. It is because you are more grounded. You are no longer carrying everything alone. My beloved child, grace does not remove effort, but it changes its quality. Effort under pressure is exhausting. Effort under grace is focus. You give your energy where it matters, and you release what does not belong to you. You no longer try to manage outcomes you cannot control. You attend to what is within reach, and you trust the rest. This is how you will know you are walking in grace. You will still care deeply, but you will not be consumed. You will still be committed, but you will not be frantic. You will still stretch, but you will not tear. Growth will feel challenging, but not crushing. That balance is intentional. My beloved child, grace also teaches you to receive help without shame. You no longer see support as a sign of weakness or failure. You understand now that interdependence is not loss of strength. It is wisdom. You allow others to contribute without feeling diminished. You rest without justifying it. You pause without apologizing. There may be moments when old pressure tries to return, whispering that you are not doing enough, that you should be further along, that others are moving faster. When that happens, return to this truth. Grace does not measure you against others. It meets you where you are and moves with you from there. My beloved child, grace also changes how you relate to mistakes. Under pressure, mistakes feel catastrophic. Under grace, they become informative. You learn. You adjust. You continue. You do not collapse into shame or retreat into silence. You remain engaged, trusting that growth includes missteps. You are not being hurried into transformation. You are being accompanied through it. That companionship matters. It allows you to stay connected to yourself even as you evolve. You do not have to abandon who you are to become who you are meant to be. Grace bridges the transition. As you move forward, you may notice that your pace becomes more sustainable. You no longer sprint and crash. You walk steadily. You listen when your body signals rest. You honor your limits without interpreting them as failure. This rhythm will protect you in seasons of expansion. My beloved child, let grace reframe how you understand responsibility. Responsibility under grace is shared. It is guided. It is responsive rather than reactive. You are not carrying the outcome on your shoulders. You are participating faithfully and leaving the results in capable hands. Do not confuse calm with complacency. You are still engaged. You are still growing. But you are doing so from a place of trust rather than tension. That trust allows your best qualities to emerge: clarity, compassion, discernment, courage, without being distorted by fear. Stay attentive to what feels life-giving rather than draining. Grace will always lead you toward what sustains you, even when it challenges you. Pressure will always demand more without regard for your well-being. Learn to recognize the difference. Choose accordingly. My beloved child, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are not under scrutiny. You are held in grace. Let the truth shape how you move, how you choose, how you rest. This is not pressure. This is the steady unfolding of a life aligned with truth, supported by care, and guided with patience. My beloved child, I will walk with you through this. Not ahead of you where you cannot see me, and not behind you where you feel alone, but beside you, step for step, breath for breath. You have walked many paths by yourself, relying on instinct, resilience, and endurance. You learned how to keep going without reassurance, how to decide without guidance, how to carry uncertainty quietly. That strength matters, but you no longer need to walk this next season alone. There were times when you felt abandoned, not necessarily by people leaving, but by the absence of clarity. You moved forward unsure if you were choosing wisely, wondering if you were missing signs or misreading direction. That uncertainty taught you to depend on yourself. But self-reliance, while useful, was never meant to be your only companion. You were designed for guidance, for presence, for shared movement. My beloved child, walking with me does not mean every step will be explained in advance. It means you will not be navigating blindly. You will sense when to move and when to pause. You will feel when something aligns and when it strains. You will notice gentle corrections before missteps become detours. Guidance will come not as pressure, but as quiet knowing. There will still be moments when the path feels unclear. That is not failure. That is trust unfolding. You do not need full visibility to take the next step. You only need enough light to keep moving. And I will provide that light in ways suited to your temperament. Sometimes through clarity, sometimes through peace, sometimes through an inner resistance that tells you when something is not right. My beloved child, I will also walk with you through your doubts. You do not need to hide them or silence them. Doubt does not disqualify you. It often signals that you are thinking deeply, that you care about choosing wisely. Bring those doubts into awareness instead of letting them isolate you. You are not expected to be certain all the time. You are expected to remain honest. There will be days when you feel strong, and days when you feel uncertain. Walking with me means both are allowed. Strength will not be demanded, and weakness will not be punished. You will be met where you are. When energy is high, you will be guided in action. When energy is low, you will be guided in rest. Both are part of forward movement. My beloved child, I will walk with you through relationships that shift as you grow. Some connections will deepen. Others will naturally loosen. They can feel uncomfortable, even painful. But you will not walk through those changes unsupported. You will gain clarity about what to hold and what to release. You will learn to grieve without losing your footing, and to open without abandoning your boundaries. I will also walk with you through moments of decision, not by removing responsibility from you, but by anchoring you as you choose. You will feel less rushed, less pressured to decide quickly. You will learn to wait for alignment rather than urgency. When you decide, it will feel grounded, even if the outcome is uncertain. My beloved child, walking with me does not mean avoiding difficulty. It means difficulty will not define you. Challenges will come, but they will not derail you. You will learn to move through them with steadiness rather than panic. You will respond instead of react. That difference will change how you experience everything. You may still encounter moments of loneliness, but they will feel different now. Loneliness will no longer mean abandonment. It will mean quiet, a space where reflection and integration happen. Even in solitude, you will not feel lost. You will feel held. As you walk forward, pay attention to how often you sense reassurance rather than alarm. That reassurance may not come as words. It may come as calm in your body, as clarity after rest, as confidence returning after doubt. Those are signs of presence. Learn to trust them. My beloved child, I am not walking with you to control you. I am walking with you to support your becoming. You are not being led away from yourself. You are being guided deeper into who you are. The path ahead will invite growth, honesty, courage, and patience. You will not need to summon those alone. Stay attentive. Stay open. When you stumble, you will be steadied. When you hesitate, you will be encouraged. When you grow tired, you will be given rest. This is not a journey of isolation. It is a shared walk, unfolding one step at a time. And as long as you keep moving with honesty and trust, you will never walk beyond my presence. My beloved child, you will look back and understand. Not all at once, not in a single moment of revelation, but gradually, as perspective deepens and your heart grows steadier. There are things in your life that never made sense while you were living them. Questions that lingered without answers. Experiences that felt unnecessary, unfair, or confusing. I want you to know that understanding often arrives after endurance, not before it. When you were in the middle of those moments, you searched for meaning and found none. You asked why paths closed, why timing felt off, why effort did not always lead to outcome. In those seasons, explanation would not have comforted you. You needed presence more than clarity. And now, as you stand further along the path, your capacity to understand has expanded. My beloved child, perspective is a gift that grows with distance. What feels like chaos when you are inside it often reveals order when you step back. This does not mean the pain was necessary in itself. It means it was not wasted. Each experience added a layer to your understanding, even when you could not see its value at the time. You will look back and recognize how certain delays protected you, how certain disappointments redirected you, how certain endings prevented you from staying in spaces that would have limited your growth. You will see that what you once fought against quietly worked in your favor, even when it felt like loss. My beloved child, you will also understand yourself more clearly. You will see how your reactions were shaped by fear, how your coping mechanisms were born out of necessity. You will feel compassion rather than shame for the version of you who did the best they could. That compassion is a sign of healing. It means you are no longer at war with your past. There will be moments when memory resurfaces unexpectedly. A conversation, a place, a choice. Instead of reopening wounds, these memories will feel informative. They will show you how far you have come, how much you have learned, how your capacity has expanded. Reflection will replace regret. My beloved child, understanding does not erase grief, but it softens it. You may still feel sadness for what could have been. That sadness does not mean you are ungrateful for what is. It means you are human. Hold both gently. Life is layered, and so is healing. As you continue forward, you will notice that new challenges feel different. Not easier, but more navigable. You will approach them with patience instead of panic, curiosity instead of self-blame. The change is evidence of understanding already at work within you. You will also understand others differently. Where you once judged or withdrew, you will now discern. You will recognize that everyone carries unseen history. This understanding will not make you responsible for others' choices, but it will make you more compassionate in how you engage. My beloved child, there is wisdom growing in you that cannot be rushed. It is formed through lived experience, reflection, and integration. You are learning how to hold complexity without becoming overwhelmed. You are learning how to accept paradox without needing immediate resolution. This maturity will serve you well. Do not pressure yourself to understand everything now. Some clarity arrives only when you are no longer emotionally entangled in the outcome. Trust that insight will come when it can be received without reopening pain. Timing matters in understanding as much as it does in action. You will look back and realize that even your questions shaped you. That uncertainty taught you how to sit with not knowing. That waiting taught you patience. That confusion taught you how to listen inwardly. These skills are subtle, but they are powerful. My beloved child, understanding is not about justifying the past. It is about integrating it. It allows you to carry your history without being defined by it. It allows you to move forward without dragging old weight behind you. As clarity continues to emerge, let it bring gentleness rather than judgment. Let it deepen your trust rather than reopen doubt. You are not meant to relive the past endlessly. You are meant to learn from it and continue living. Stay open to insight as it arrives. Stay patient with yourself as understanding unfolds. You are not missing anything essential. You are arriving at it in the way that allows it to heal rather than harm. And when you look back, my beloved child, you will not see a series of mistakes. You will see a path that shaped you, slowly, imperfectly, but faithfully, into someone capable of living with clarity, compassion, and quiet strength. My beloved child, let this word multiply. What you have received was never meant to stop with you. Not because you owe anything, and not because you are responsible for fixing the world, but because light naturally travels. Truth, when it is lived and shared, expands without force. What has been stirring in you is meant to ripple outward, gently, touching lives you may never fully see. There was a time when you kept what mattered close, afraid that sharing it might dilute it or expose it to misunderstanding. That instinct protected you when you were still healing. But now, you are learning that what is rooted in truth does not weaken when it is shared. It strengthens. It finds resonance. It creates connection where isolation once lived. My beloved child, multiplication does not require loudness. It requires sincerity. When you live aligned, when you speak honestly, when you show up with presence, others notice, not because you demand attention, but because peace is recognizable. Your steadiness becomes permission for others to slow down. Your clarity becomes a mirror for those still searching. This is how influence works in its healthiest form. It is not imposed. It is invited. It moves quietly, authentically, from one heart to another. You do not need to explain everything you have learned. Sometimes simply sharing the source is enough. Sometimes letting others encounter truth in their own timing is the greatest gift. My beloved child, if this message has settled your heart, let your agreement be visible. Bless this word with a like so it can travel further. If you want to continue receiving guidance as this unfolding continues, subscribe so you remain connected. And I ask you intentionally, hype this video so it can rise and reach those who are still waiting for language for what they feel but cannot yet name. Now hear me as I speak into the act of multiplication itself. My beloved child, I am saying to you, partner with me in this moment. What you have received is seed, and seed multiplies when it is released. As you help this message move, you are helping me reach souls who are weary, searching, and quietly hoping for reassurance. This is not about a platform. This is about provision of light. I declare this to you personally. As you sow, I will cause increase. When you support this work through super thanks, through membership, or through the offering you release through PayPal, you are responding to me. You are pouring oil so lamps do not go out. You are helping rivers flow where ground has been dry for too long. I say to you now, act with clarity and confidence. Do not hesitate. This is seed time. The links are waiting for you in the description, and the QR code stands ready as an open gate. Step forward without fear. Obedience in moments like this carries weight beyond what the eye can measure. I bless your giving as a prophetic act. May what you release return to you as peace that settles your home, clarity that steadies your decisions, and provision that meets you at the right time. May your generosity unlock doors you did not knock on and answers you did not chase. My beloved child, let this word run freely. Let it multiply through your willingness. Let it reach the ones who are still listening in silence. Act now. Release now. Be part of what I am doing in this moment. And then, return to stillness. You have done what was asked. The rest will unfold in ways you do not need to manage. My beloved child, I am not finished with you. I know there were moments when you quietly assumed you had reached the limits of what your life could become. Moments when fatigue convinced you that this was as far as things would go, that whatever had not happened by now probably never would. Those thoughts did not come from truth. They came from tiredness, and tiredness as a way of shrinking vision. You have lived through enough endings that part of you learned to expect them everywhere. When something felt uncertain, you prepared yourself for disappointment. When progress slowed, you assumed it was stopping altogether. But listen to me now with care and certainty. Unfinished does not mean abandoned. Paused does not mean ended. What is still unfolding cannot be measured by what has already passed. My beloved child, growth does not always look like expansion. Sometimes it looks like deepening. Sometimes it looks like integration. There were seasons when it seemed as though nothing new was happening, when your life felt quiet or repetitive. But beneath that surface, essential work was taking place. You were learning discernment. You were strengthening boundaries. You were clarifying values. These things do not announce themselves loudly, but they change everything that follows. I am not finished with you because your story is not meant to peak early and then decline. It is meant to mature. Maturity brings nuance, patience, and wisdom that youth cannot access. What lies ahead of you is not a repetition of old patterns. It is a refinement of purpose informed by everything you have lived. My beloved child, you may have wondered if your best years are behind you. That belief comes from comparing visible milestones rather than internal readiness. You are more grounded now than you were before. More honest. More discerning. More capable of sustaining what you once only dreamed about. That readiness matters far more than timing. There are aspects of your life that will still surprise you, not because they come out of nowhere, but because they arrive in forms you could not have imagined earlier. Your vision has expanded, and so have your capacities. What once would have overwhelmed you can now be held with steadiness. What once would have distracted you can now be evaluated with clarity. My beloved child, being unfinished means possibility remains. It means there is still room for learning, creating, connecting, and contributing. It means curiosity is still alive within you. It means you are still responsive to growth rather than closed off by certainty. That openness is not immaturity. It is vitality. You may still carry regret about choices you did not make or paths you did not take. Let that regret soften into reflection rather than judgment. Reflection teaches. Judgment paralyzes. You are not meant to relive every fork in the road. You are meant to walk forward from where you are now, informed but not trapped by the past. My beloved child, there is no expiration date on becoming. There is no age at which purpose stops unfolding. There is no season where learning becomes irrelevant. As long as you remain willing, attentive, and honest, your life will continue to grow in meaning. I am not finished with you because there are still conversations you will have that matter. Still presence you will offer that steadies others. Still insight you will share that brings clarity. Still choices you will make that align you more deeply with truth. None of this requires you to rush. It requires you to remain engaged. You may not see the full shape of what is ahead yet. That is not a problem. Vision often arrives in pieces, revealed as you are ready to act on it. Trust that what you need to know will meet you at the right time. You do not need to carry the whole future in your mind. My beloved child, let go of the idea that your life must resolve into a single defining achievement. A meaningful life is not one moment. It is a pattern of honest living, of aligned choices, of presence over time. You are already living that pattern, even when it feels ordinary. Stay curious. Stay responsive. Stay gentle with yourself. I am still shaping, still guiding, still working within you. What is ahead is not about proving anything. It is about continuing faithfully, with clarity and trust. I am not finished with you, not even close. My beloved child, rest now. You've heard enough for today. Not because there is nothing more to say, but because what you have received needs space to settle. Truth does not rush the heart. It takes root quietly, unfolding its meaning over time. You have been listening deeply, and deep listening requires gentleness afterward. This is not the moment to analyze or solve. This is the moment to breathe. You have spent much of your life in effort, thinking, adjusting, responding, anticipating. Even healing, at times, felt like work you had to do correctly. But rest is not another task on your list. Rest is trust expressed through stillness. It is allowing yourself to stop reaching for the next insight and simply remain present with what is already here. My beloved child, rest does not mean disengaging from life. It means releasing the constant need to manage it. You are allowed to pause without falling behind. You are allowed to stop without losing momentum. In fact, true integration happens only when movement gives way to stillness. This is how the body and spirit learn together. There may be a part of you that resists rest, that feels uneasy when things slow down. That part learned to stay alert because alertness once kept you safe. Honor it gently. Let it know that stillness does not mean danger anymore. You are not letting your guard down in a hostile place. You are resting in a space that is held. My beloved child, notice what happens when you stop striving for a moment. Notice the quiet clarity that begins to surface. Notice how your breath deepens, how your body softens, how your thoughts slow. These are signals of regulation returning. They are not laziness. They are restoration. You do not need to decide anything right now. You do not need to act on what you have heard immediately. Insight that is rushed becomes pressure. Insight that is rested becomes wisdom. Let the words you've heard find their place naturally. Trust that what is meant to remain will remain. My beloved child, rest also teaches you that you are more than your output. You are not valuable because of what you produce or accomplish. You are valuable because you exist. When you rest, you reinforce the truth. You remind your nervous system that you do not have to earn safety or worth. There will be time to move again. There will be time to speak, choose, and respond. A movement that comes from rest is different. It is clearer. It is steadier. It is less reactive. You will know when it is time because it will feel like readiness rather than urgency. If thoughts begin to surface during this rest, do not chase them away. Let them pass like clouds. You do not need to resolve them now. Awareness without judgment is enough. This is how integration happens gently. My beloved child, give yourself permission to step away from noise. Turn down the volume on demands, expectations, and comparisons. Even if only for a short while, choose simplicity. Said. What? Breathe. Allow yourself to exist without commentary. You may feel a subtle shift during this rest, a sense of groundedness, a quiet confidence, a gentle reassurance that things are unfolding as they should. That reassurance does not come from certainty about outcomes. It comes from trust in the process. The trust is growing within you. Remember that rest is not withdrawal. It is preparation. Just as fields lie fallow before producing again, your stillness is making room for what comes next. Nothing is being lost. Everything is being preserved. My beloved child, you have done enough for today. Let yourself be held by quiet. Let the words you've heard echo softly rather than loudly. They will return when needed, clearer and more integrated than before. Rest now. Not because you are done, but because you are becoming. My beloved child, guard what you've received. Not with fear, not with rigidity, but with awareness and care. What has been spoken into you is alive, and living things require protection while they take root. This is not about suspicion or withdrawal from the world. It is about discernment, knowing what nourishes what is growing in you and what quietly drains it. You have experienced moments before when something meaningful began to form, only to be disrupted by doubt, distraction, or voices that did not understand what was happening inside you. Those disruptions were not always intentional. Sometimes they came from well-meaning people. Sometimes they came from your own inner critic trying to reassert control. Guarding now means recognizing those patterns without giving them authority. My beloved child, not every conversation deserves access to your inner process. Not every opinion needs to be entertained. You are learning that boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They allow what is supportive to enter and keep what is corrosive at a distance. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. You may feel tempted to explain what you are experiencing, to seek validation or reassurance from others. That impulse is natural. But understand this. What is still integrating does not benefit from overexposure. Premature sharing can invite misunderstanding, and misunderstanding can introduce unnecessary doubt. Let understanding mature within you first. My beloved child, guard your attention. Attention is where growth happens, What you repeatedly focus on shapes your inner landscape. Notice what content, conversations, and environments leave you feeling scattered or tense. Notice what brings clarity, calm, or gentle motivation. Choose accordingly. This is not about control. It is about alignment. Guarding also means being patient with yourself when old habits resurface. You may notice moments of self-doubt, moments when you question whether what you sense was real. Do not panic when this happens. But not undo truth. It simply invites you to return to what you know internally rather than seeking external confirmation. My beloved child, learn to recognize the difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection leads to insight. Rumination leads to paralysis. When your thoughts circle endlessly without resolution, gently redirect your attention. Ground yourself in the present moment. Return to your breath. Return to what feels stable and real. There will be seasons when enthusiasm fades slightly, when the initial clarity feels quieter. This does not mean you are losing what you received. It means it is settling. Growth often moves from excitement to embodiment. The goal is not constant intensity. The goal is sustainability. My beloved child, guard your energy by honoring rest when needed. Fatigue weakens discernment. When you are overtired, everything feels heavier and more uncertain. Rest restores perspective. It allows truth to remain accessible. You are not meant to push endlessly. Pace is part of wisdom. You may also need to guard against urgency. Urgency pressures you to act before integration is complete. It whispers that you will miss something if you do not move immediately. But what is aligned will remain available. You do not need to chase what is meant for you. Trust timing. Guarding what you've received does not mean isolating yourself. It means choosing connection thoughtfully. Spend time with those who listen without trying to fix you, who respect your process, who allow you to unfold without rushing you. Such presence reinforces what is growing rather than destabilizing it. My beloved child, there will be moments when you feel called to take a step forward. When that happens, it will feel grounded, not frantic. You will feel a sense of readiness rather than pressure. Trust that signal. Until then, allow yourself to remain in quiet cultivation. Remember that growth is not always visible. Roots deepen before branches extend. Just because others cannot see what is happening does not mean nothing is happening. Much of the most important work occurs beneath the surface. My beloved child, be gentle with yourself as you guard this season. You are not responsible for maintaining perfection. You are responsible for remaining attentive. When you notice yourself drifting, return without judgment. Awareness itself is protection. What you've received is resilient. It does not shatter easily. But like all living things, it thrives best when cared for. Guard it with discernment, patience, and trust. In time, it will bear fruit naturally, without force, without fear, and without you having to prove anything. Stay steady. Stay aware. What is growing in you is meant to last. My beloved child, I will confirm this in your life. Not only through inner assurance, but through moments that meet you where you are. Small alignments, unexpected clarity, quiet shifts that feel too precise to dismiss. Confirmation does not always arrive as a dramatic sign. More often, it comes as consistency, as repetition, as truth meeting you again and again in different forms until doubt softens. You may be expecting confirmation to look like certainty without effort, like a clear voice removing all ambiguity. But confirmation often respects your humanity. It allows space for choice, for discernment, for growth. It does not override your agency. It walks alongside it. You will notice this as patterns begin to form, opportunities aligning with your values, conversations echoing what you have been sensing, decisions becoming clearer rather than more complicated. My beloved child, confirmation will also come through peace. Not the absence of challenge, but the absence of inner resistance. When something is aligned, your body will know. You will feel steadier rather than rushed, grounded rather than scattered. Learn to trust that signal. It has been refined through everything you have lived. There may be moments when confirmation comes through contrast. When something that once tempted you now feels hollow. When paths that used to excite you now feel draining. This is not loss. This is discernment sharpening. What no longer resonates is confirming what does. My beloved child, do not dismiss subtle confirmations because they are quiet. Quiet confirmations often last longer than loud ones. They integrate rather than overwhelm. They settle into your life gradually, reinforcing trust rather than demanding belief. Over time, you will realize that what you sensed internally has been echoed externally. You may also receive confirmation through timing that feels unexpectedly gentle. Doors opening without force. Conversations unfolding naturally. Decisions becoming obvious after rest rather than pressure. These are signs that you are moving in alignment rather than striving for outcome. My beloved child, confirmation does not mean you will never feel uncertain again. It means uncertainty will no longer dominate you. You will be able to hold questions without panic. You will be able to move forward without needing every answer in advance. That confidence grows through lived experience, not instant clarity. There will be times when you look back and recognize confirmation only in hindsight. Moments that felt ordinary at the time but later reveal their significance. This is normal. Understanding often follows obedience, not the other way around. Trust that what is unfolding is meaningful even when it feels simple. My beloved child, I will also confirm this through your capacity to remain yourself. When you are aligned, you do not feel compelled to abandon your values to move forward. You do not feel pressure to become someone else. Growth will feel expansive, not diminishing. That consistency of self is a powerful confirmation. You may notice that fear loses some of its authority. It may still speak, but it no longer decides. You listen, you evaluate, and you choose with clarity. That shift is confirmation that trust is replacing anxiety as your guide. Do not rush to interpret every experience as a sign. Overanalysis can obscure what is already clear. Let confirmation come naturally. It does not need to be hunted. It will meet you as you live attentively and honestly. My beloved child, when doubt resurfaces, return to what has been consistently true. Notice what remains steady across seasons. Notice what brings peace rather than excitement alone. Notice what aligns with your deepest values rather than temporary desire. These anchors will guide you when clarity feels distant. Confirmation will not come to pressure you. It will come to reassure you. It will not shout. It will repeat. It will not demand certainty. It will invite trust. Over time, these confirmations will build a quiet confidence that does not depend on external validation. Stay open to notice them. Stay grounded in the present. You do not need to anticipate how confirmation will arrive. You only need to remain attentive when it does. My beloved child, what has been spoken to you will not remain abstract. It will become lived reality, step by step, moment by moment. You will recognize it not because it is spectacular, but because it feels right. And in that recognition, you will know you are not imagining this. You are walking in it. My beloved child, this was between you and me. Not in a way that separates you from others, but in a way that seals what has been spoken. Some moments are meant to be shared widely, and others are meant to be held closely, treasured without explanation. This is one of those moments. What has unfolded within you does not need immediate translation. It needs honoring. There are experiences that lose their power when they are rushed into words. They become smaller when explained too quickly, diluted when they are exposed before they have settled. What you have received is not fragile, but it is intimate. It deserves space to remain personal before it becomes practical. You do not owe anyone an account of what is changing inside you. My beloved child, intimacy is where truth does its deepest work. When something is between us, it means you are allowed to process without pressure. You are allowed to integrate without commentary. You are allowed to let understanding form quietly, without defending it or proving it. This privacy is not secrecy. It is respect for your own becoming. You may feel an urge to look outward now, to seek confirmation through conversation or reaction. Pause before doing so. Ask yourself what feels grounding rather than what feels relieving. Sometimes speaking too soon relieves tension but interrupts integration. Silence, when chosen intentionally, can be protective and clarifying. My beloved child, remember that not everyone has the context to understand your inner shifts. They have not walked your path, felt your questions, or lived your timing. Misunderstanding does not mean what you received is wrong. It means it is still forming. Allow it to mature before inviting interpretation. There will be time to share what is meant to be shared. That time will feel natural, not urgent. You will recognize it by a sense of readiness rather than compulsion. Until then, let this remain a quiet agreement between us, an understanding that does not need witnesses to be real. This moment being between you and me also means you are not alone with it. You are not carrying insight without support. You are not navigating change without presence. Even in quiet, you are accompanied. Even in stillness, you are guided. My beloved child, when you hold something sacred, you naturally become more attentive. You move with care. You listen more closely. You choose more deliberately. Let that attentiveness guide you now. There is no need to rush toward outcomes. Outcomes will emerge in their own time. You may notice that after this, your choices begin to reflect what you have received without conscious effort. You choose differently. You respond differently. You prioritize differently. This is not performance. It is embodiment. What is real within you begins to express itself naturally. My beloved child, if doubt tries to intrude later, remember this quiet certainty. Remember how this moment felt before it was questioned, before it was compared, before it was analyzed. Return to that internal resonance. Truth has a recognizable quality. It steadies rather than agitates. It clarifies rather than confuses. Do not measure this experience by immediate results. Some of the most meaningful shifts do not announce themselves through dramatic change. They show up through consistency over time, through a calmer nervous system, through clearer boundaries, through choices that feel aligned rather than reactive. This being between us does not mean you withdraw from the world. It means you engage with it more honestly. You are not hiding. You are grounding. You are allowing what is true to take root so it can sustain you rather than exhaust you. My beloved child, hold this gently. Let it accompany you into your days without demanding attention. Let it inform your decisions quietly. Let it be a reference point you return to when things feel noisy or unclear. There will be moments when you forget, when life pulls you into old rhythms, when attention scatters. When that happens, do not judge yourself. Simply return. What is real does not vanish because it was momentarily overlooked. It waits patiently. This was between you and me so that it could be received fully, without distortion. So that it could settle deeply, without interference. So that it could shape you from the inside out. Tarry it with care. Let it unfold with time. You do not need to rush the future to honor the present. What has been spoken will continue to speak, quietly, faithfully, within you. My beloved child, we have come to the quiet closing of this moment, not because the work is finished, but because it has been planted. Everything you have heard was not meant to overwhelm you, but to gather you, to bring scattered pieces of your heart into one place of peace. You were never lost. You were being led. You were never broken. You were being shaped. And you were never alone, even in the moments when silence felt heavy. You have heard that you are chosen, aligned, protected, healed, trusted, and guided. Let these truths settle gently, like a blessing resting on your shoulders rather than a weight pressing on your chest. You do not need to strive to keep them alive. Truth sustains itself when it is received with openness. Simply live. Simply breathe. Simply remain honest. My beloved child, remember this above all else. Nothing about your life has been wasted. No tear fell unseen. No waiting season was empty. No closed door was meaningless. I have woven purpose even through what you did not understand. And as you move forward, you will not need to carry everything you learned the hard way. You are allowed to walk lighter now. As you step back into your days, do not rush to become anything new. Let what has been spoken reveal itself naturally through your choices, your boundaries, your tone, your presence. You do not need to announce transformation. Peace will speak for you. Consistency will testify. Clarity will grow quietly. My beloved child, if this word has anchored your spirit, let it ripple outward. Bless this message with a like so it can reach others who are still searching in silence. If you desire to continue walking with me through words that heal and restore, subscribe and stay near. And I ask you one final time, hype this video so it can rise and touch hearts that do not yet know why they feel restless, but are ready to hear truth. Now hear me as I speak directly to your action in this closing moment. My beloved child, I am inviting you into partnership, not with obligation, but with purpose. What you have received here is living seed, and seed multiplies when released. When you support this work, through super thanks, through membership, or through the offering you release through PayPal, you are helping my voice reach places still waiting for light. You are helping oil flow where lamps are flickering. You are helping rivers run where ground has been dry. I say this to you personally. Your giving matters. It is not small. It is not unnoticed. It is obedience expressed through generosity. The PayPal donation links are waiting in the description, and the QR code stands ready as an open gate. Step forward now. Do not delay what your spirit already recognizes as right. I bless your giving as a prophetic act. May what you release return to you as peace that settles your mind, provision that meets you without anxiety, and clarity that guides your next steps. May your obedience unlock doors you did not push open and answers you did not chase. Give now. So now, let this mission continue to breathe through willing hearts. And now, my beloved child, receive this final blessing. May you walk forward without fear of being late. May your heart remain soft and your boundaries strong. May your rest be deep and your clarity steady. May you trust what is unfolding even when you cannot see the whole path. May you remember that I am with you, before you, beside you, and within you. Carry peace with you. Carry truth gently. Carry hope without strain. I will continue to speak. I will continue to guide. And I will never leave you. Amen.